Right, so I have collected the most important 20 tips that I believe everyone should know in the ATM10 mod pack, and I hope you guys will enjoy. Please don't forget to subscribe if I helped you out somehow, and enjoy the video. So the first tip that I have for you is FTB Ultimine. So if you press your FTB Ultimine key and you come, for example, to this artificial tree, if you chop it down, as you can see, it basically chops everything at once, which is just awesome. This also applies to basically veins or ores. As you can see, I have chopped everything down at once. Now, just additional note, yes, fortune does work. Now, if you press your Ultimine key and if you basically press shift and start scrolling, it'll give you different options. As an example, small square 3x3 will basically dig a 3x3 hole like this, right? As you can see, wham bam bam. Now, to get your Ultimine key, if you go to options, control, keybinds, write FTB Ultimine, as you can see, you can set your own FTB Ultimine key to whatever you like. The second tip I have for you is the quests book. Quests book, I would say, is very underrated, and this is like a goldmine of information and free resources. So anytime you complete a big quest, it'll give you something for free, and this is very good for early game. As you can see, a Mecha Suit helmet will give you elite energy cube, a module base, and some experience. This is just an example. This is a goldmine. By just doing quests, you can get free stuff. Additionally, for example, if you're stuck with something, if you actually go to it, right, and if you scroll to the last page, it will actually show you how to build it. As you can see, this is the Fission reactor or the turbine, and as you can see, it actually shows you how to build it. So this is very good, and just in case you're stuck, you can just come here and take a look how to do stuff, right? So very overpowered. Sophisticated chest. So this is the default Minecraft chest, and as you can see, it's basically for modded Minecraft, it's useless. So if you actually craft something called the basic tier upgrade, right, this is how you craft it. If you actually use this against a vanilla chest by right clicking it, now it's called sophisticated storage oak chest, and as you can see, basically a new GUI has appeared. So we get additional functions, and this actual slot right here on the left is actually for upgrades. You can also search for stuff. So for example, if I put dirt and I type in dirt, as you can see, it filters out, right? Now, what you can actually do is you can actually go from the basic chest, right? As you can see, it doesn't have a lot of storage. You can go all the way down from copper to netherite. So basically it goes in order of copper, iron, gold, diamond, and netherite. The netherite is the biggest one, and as you can see, it gets 5 upgrade slots and plenty of storage, right? In a second, I'll show you upgrades. As an example, I just put a stack upgrade, which is also goes in order. So basically goes all the way from basic to netherite upgrades, right? And if I actually put, for example, dirt, and as you can see, dirt has basically now, instead of, for example, only up to 64 stacks, it goes all the way up to 2000, which just basically is awesome. And this makes your chest more capable of holding more items. The next tape I have for you is called the packing tape. So if you want to move your chests with items in it, you just need to use the packing tape. So if you right click it, as you can see, it basically sort of packs it. Now, if I destroy this chest, as you can see, all items are left in it, and as you can see, it actually shows you. So if I put it back, as you can see, it basically allows me to access these items again. Right, so the next tip for storage I have for you is basically the backpacks. The backpacks are actually from the same family of sophisticated storage, so this works exactly the same as chests, right? So we also get basically the tiers of backpacks. So if I actually shift and right click, as you can see, I can actually place a backpack down, and you can basically just leave it like this. Or what you can do is, for example, if you put a magnet, it will basically pick everything up from the floor. So if you actually go to your J, and if you actually write sophisticated, right, and if you write upgrade, as you can see, this will actually show you both upgrades for chests and storage, right? You just need to basically at the bottom, as you can see, it's a sophisticated storage. So you just need to look which mod or basically which upgrade is this for, right? So for example, if I take the magnet upgrade, right, and I put it in the backpack, make sure it's turned on. As you can see, if I drop anything, the backpack will actually automatically pick everything up, right? So I actually use the backpack for my XP farm, which just basically takes all the mob loot and stores it inside the backpack. Don't forget that obviously the netherite backpack, obviously don't forget that the backpack works exactly the same as the chest. So basically this also allows you to put like the stack upgrades and compact upgrades. The next tip I have for you is actually for survival and creative. So if you actually, for example, as you can see, I have marble. Now let's say that instead of having for me to go to my inventory and look for it, if I actually look at it and I press the middle button, basically your scroll button, right? So if you actually press it, this will actually pull out the block out of my inventory. And this works exactly the same in creative, but instead of mostly like looking at it in inventory, it will just basically give it to you, right? As you can see, wham bam bam, I can actually get rid of it. And as you can see, it will give it to me, right? The next great tip I have for you is the minimap. So if you actually press J and M, as you can see, there's two minimaps, right? This, I wouldn't really recommend to use it. I would say it's a little bit broken, this minimap, right? So I would actually recommend pressing J. J is the actual good minimap. As you can see at the top, it gives you plenty of options. I'm not going to go through all of these, but basically if you just hover over, it will actually tell you what it does, right? And basically, right, what you can do is you can actually set up waypoints. And the cool thing is, I actually use this all the time, is I just teleport to these waypoints, right? As you can see, I've got plenty of waypoints, like even like this one is 120,000 blocks away, right? So that's far. And basically you can teleport anywhere. And like, for example, if I teleport here, right? As you can see, it's just a random waypoint that has set, right? So you can teleport to your waypoints, and this is useful if you have a lot of, basically, if you're spread out through the map or stuff like that, right? So I do recommend using these waypoints. Another tip I have for you is, for example, if you don't have a lot of iron, but you need an anvil, what you can do is you can craft a copper anvil, and it does the same thing, right? It's just made out of copper, and as we all know, copper is basically available anywhere. If you actually write copper, for example, this will actually show you other alternatives. As you can see, there is a copper ladder, there is copper stairs, and a lot of basically alternatives that you can really use. Even copper armor, right? As you can see, there's copper armor right there, right? So there's a lot of alternatives, and I would highly recommend researching through the J, because you can find a lot of alternatives. Another tip I have for you is you can actually craft enchantment books. So if you go to, for example, Fortune 3, go to Ender.io, right, or any other mods that you might want to look at, but in this case, I'm going to show you Ender.io. As you can see, if you take a book and quill, 3 emeralds, lapis lazuli, this will give you a fortune book, which is just awesome for early game, right? So let me actually show you how to get it. Right, so basically if you go to enchanter, put your lapis lazuli, put your emerald, put your book and quill, and as you can see, we got a fortune 3, then just come to an anvil, put your pickaxe or whatever you want, and as you can see, fortune 3. Wham, bam, bam. The next tip I have for you is try to get the jetpack as soon as possible. The one I recommend is to get the Mekanism jetpack, as it's basically very, very cheap, and it only requires hydrogen. You can get hydrogen from electrolytic separator by basically just connecting a pump to water and then just put it in a tank. So basically just need your jetpack, put it in the tank, and as you can see, it's back to charge, right? Now, basically, if you equip it, yes, it does take, in fact, your basically chest plate, but what you can do is you can also get the armored jetpack, which gives you armor. Now, if you basically press space, as you can see, I can fly, and this is the cheapest way to fly. If you press G, it changes the modes. This is also useful for building, so you get basically regular, hover, vector, and disabled, right? You should just inspect all of them, whichever one suits you the most, you should choose. Right, next tip. This is actually very important. You should try to get AllTheModium Armor as soon as possible. AllTheModium Armor gives you hidden buffs and basically power-ups. As an example, if you have AllTheModium Armor, you take no fall damage. Also, if you go to water, or if you jump in water, you get the dolphin effect, and basically you can swim as fast as a dolphin, right? Very good. Also, as you can see, I am not running out of oxygen, which just shows you that there is respiration automatically added to AllTheModium. And there is also additional buffs, like basically lava resistance. So if you jump in lava, you really don't take as much damage. Right, so basically if I jump in lava, as you can see, I am somewhat immune. Now, if you stay longer, you will start to take damage, but the damage is still not as bad as without the AllTheModium armor. Very, very nice. Tip number 12 is to use Mekanism's generators for early to mid game. These generators require zero effort and they produce a good constant influx of energy. As you can see, I basically had this energy cube for around 5 minutes and it's nearly on 10 MFE of energy. So probably the cheapest and best way to produce energy for early to mid game. Tip number 13. Tip number 13 covers mystical agriculture. Mystical agriculture allows you to grow any crop or any resource in the game. And yes, before we proceed, yes, this also allows you to grow AllTheModium, Vibranium and Unobtainium, but it requires magical soil, which is extremely difficult to get. This magical soil is required and this is what you need to get. As we can see, yeah, you're not getting it anytime soon. So basically mystical agriculture, right? As an example, as you can see, I've got steel seeds, obsidian seeds and refined obsidian seeds. Now basically once you get enough essence, you just need to take it, and if you come to our crafting table, as you can see, if I basically put it in like this, as you can see, I got refined obsidian ingot. Now, if you have ever played modded Minecraft, you know that this is a blessing. To get this, it's always a pain for me. So like as soon as I saw that I can basically just use mystical agriculture to grow it, I was basically amazed how beautiful this was. Now, just before I proceed to the next tip, just remember to put basically the growth accelerators, because without it, it will be very slow. Next tip, if you're having problems with the villagers, all you need to do is if you come to a villager, shift and right click. As you can see, I have picked a villager. So the next time you're going on an adventure, don't forget to take a villager with you. Tip 15. If you cannot find a specific resource, let's say that in this case, you're looking for diamonds and you cannot find any. If you go to J and you type in diamond potion, as you can see, you can craft a diamond potion. Now this diamond potion, let me actually just show you. Wham bam bam, it gives you X-ray. As you can see, all of this are diamond ores. So it gave me basically a diamond site for 2 minutes, right? So basically in 2 minutes, I can just look for any ores I need, right? As you can see, there's diamond there, there's diamond literally right there, and just about anywhere. And yes, just in case you ask, you also get AllTheModium, Vibranium, and basically Unobtainium. So if I splash this again, now if I fly around, I should be able to find a little bit of AllTheModium. However, that might not be the case because I think I already took all the... Nope, I actually found one. So as you can see, I found one AllTheModium. So as you can see, there's two different colors. This one is basically like a turquoise and this one is like a yellow color. So you can basically, if you use multiple potions, you can tell the difference pretty easily. Obviously, don't use too many. Okay, so the next tip is basically configuration. So whenever you, for example, connect a pipe or something to your chest or basically just about to anything, by default, it might not output items. As you can see, this chest is full of cobblestone, but nothing is coming out. What you need to do is if you shift and scroll, as you can see, it changes options. And basically, if you change it to configure items, right, because this is a chest, if you press shift and right click on the edge or basically on the end of the pipe, as you can see, we're changing. Now, push basically means push items, and pull basically means take out items and send it somewhere else. And as you can see, I am now sending items to my Quantum Entangloporter. And my next tip is to use the Quantum Entangloporters. Quantum Entangloporters allow you to move just about anything over long distances or between dimensions. As you can see, we can move fluids, chemicals, energy, heat, and items, right? And overall, it is a very simple use case. Quantum Entangloporter set right here, and let's go to Nether. And as you can see, my Quantum Entangloporter is basically moving stuff from one dimension to another, and it's extremely simple. You might have had to create a chunk loader. In ATM10, you don't have to do that, as there is basically a chunk loader as a map. So as you can see in the left corner, there is a claim manager, right? So if you actually come here, and if you click any area, as you can see, it basically changes the color, right? Now, this is not actually chunk loaded. If you press shift and left click, as you can see now, it's being chunk loaded, right? How to verify? If you actually hover over, as you can see, it says force loaded. Now, if I go to my nether dimension, As you can see, the items are still being transferred. Now, just one more useful tip for the chunks loader. So basically, if you actually go to FTB chunks map, as you can see, the whole chunk load, or basically the area, is basically highlighted, right? Now, this is useful if you're building something on the edge. And if you zoom in, you can verify if it's going to be chunk loaded or not, right? Because you can actually see if it's inside or outside of the chunk, right? I hope I explained this pretty well. Right, the next tip is actually very important, and this will save you a lot of headaches. If you're using the fission reactor, and basically in the turbine, if the turbine becomes full of steam, right? So basically if the turbine is not managing to use the whole steam and it's going to be filled the whole time, what will happen eventually is the turbine may explode. To prevent an explosion of your fission reactor, you just need to basically dump the excess steam. Now, how do I know if I'm in danger of exploding? If the fission reactor is going to be full of energy and full of steam, it will explode. So like I said, make sure that you dump all the excess, and this will basically prevent the explosion. Right, the next tip is try to get a centralized storage system for your base, right? Why? For example, let's say that I want to access redstone. Let's say I need redstone. As you can see, this is my whole redstone in my storage. And this is useful because basically later in the game, the more crafting you'll have to do. And once you set up your AE2 network, then what you can also do is you can set up automatic crafting, right? Which I'll show you how to do, for example, right now. As an example, let's say that I need 16K storage component. I can request it, and basically the auto crafting will do it for me, right? And as you can see, it's already finished. This is why I say you need some kind of centralized storage, because it is just a lifesaver. Right, and I hope you guys have learned something new. Please don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching, and peace.